guys, it's Matt from Train Sim Society, and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. So with the start of May, you already know what time it is. Roadmap time. Dovetail usually posts their monthly roadmap and hosts a live stream during the first week of the month. And before we get to that point, I have a lot to talk about this time around. So this video is going to be a mix of speculation, wish list stuff, and just kind of me getting some thoughts off my chest about where Train Sim World is and where it might be heading to, especially as we inch closer to the inevitable next reissue of the game, because we all know that Train Sim World 6 is likely on the horizon. So first off, let's talk about what I'd like to see on the May roadmap, assuming it's dropping early next week. I'm pretty sure it's this coming Tuesday. I think the S-Bahn is long overdue for either a concrete release date or at least a much more specific release window. We'll probably also see core performance and graphics improvements listed on the roadmap as well, and I appreciate that they're trying to address these things and at least they're communicating it, but until players start seeing actual changes and stability in their games, those bullet points really don't mean much, at least to me. As for the rest of the stuff that was already on April's roadmap, I doubt we'll get any surprise release dates beyond the S-Bahn. So now I want to talk about the state of roadmaps and Train Sim World 5's lifespan. We're honestly at that point in TSW 5's life where the roadmaps are just getting kind of boring. They feel pretty empty. It's clear that most of the dev focus is shifting toward what'll probably be Train Sim World 6, of course continuing the pattern of a new title every year in Q4, and like I've stated in previous videos, I hate this business model. It feels like a rebranding exercise more than anything. Same game, new features, 3 new routes, rinse and repeat. But at the same time, I also get why they're doing it. Releasing a new version every year, especially with a free upgrade option and marketing push, will help grow the player base and keeps the game franchise as a whole visible. So from a business standpoint, it's honestly really smart. But as a player, pretty frustrating most of the time. So with all of that said, let's talk about what I'd actually want to see in Train Sim World 6, or maybe not specifically Train Sim World 6, but some sort of a future iteration of this game, because we obviously know we get a new one every single year. So not everything that I want to see come to this game or what I think should be improved on will even happen in Train Sim World 6, or could be possible. Because I think at this point, what we need isn't just more new features, it's smarter, more immersive systems that build on what we already have. So let's start with what we already have now in TSW 5. We received the introduction of conductor mode, which still has bugs to this day. Most routes that support it end up needing post-launch fixes for conductor mode. You've got broken triggers, unresponsive UI elements, and sometimes you can't even complete a service because something's glitched. I ran into this problem on the Zwolle to Groningen route, and also many others. It's a great idea in theory, but the execution needs a lot of work. Then we had route hopping, which I actually do love. Being able to jump between connected routes is awesome, and I think there's a lot of room to expand on that. Like, imagine if you could continue a service across routes, not just change routes at a shared location, but literally stay in the same train and keep going. It's kind of funny because I've had this sort of idea and concept in my mind before route hopping was even a thing. So the fact that route hopping has been introduced kind of gives me a little hope that maybe they could expand on it. So let's say I'm running a Metrolink service from San Bernardino to LA Union on one route. Once I reach Union Station, I get an option to continue the same service on the Antelope Valley line without getting up or returning to the menu. There's a loading screen, sure, but I respawn in the same train with the same weather settings that I had previously, facing the buffers at LA Union station. I then can shut the cab down, walk to the other end, and now I'm headed to Lancaster. That's the kind of thing I would love to see, bringing more immersion and continuity between services. And it makes more sense to have something like this implemented if we receive more routes that have an endpoint where one starts on another route. We also received fast travel, which I know a lot of people use, especially console players who don't have access to God mode or mods. Personally, I don't touch it much, but I totally get the appeal. And then there's Live Map 2.0, which might be the best thing they added. The ability to remove trains or fix broken AI pathing on the fly is a game changer. You can spot when a train's stuck or off path and just clear it out to keep the timetable going. That said, I'd love to see this expanded. Like, what if a stuck or bugged AI train actually changed color on the map, red or orange, to potentially signal an issue to the player? Or if we had the ability to see all AI trains regardless of zoom level, maybe even a toggle to always show icons. Small tweaks, but huge usability upgrades. The seeing all AI trains regardless of zoom level is honestly just a personal preference of mine. That's probably not something that most people want, but I wanted to slip that in there. It's unfortunate though that I would feel like I need to request a feature to help us with stuck trains when that shouldn't be a problem in the first place. But I mean, unless the team is gonna rework the dispatcher at the core and all of the signaling issues, what other choice do we have? So track shadows were also improved in Train Sim World 5. They don't pop in nearly as much now, but junctions and ballast shading still need attention. I don't know if it's possible for them to add shadows to the junctions. I'm pretty sure they explained that they couldn't do it, but I'm hoping that sometime in the future, maybe they figure out a way that they can. And then if so, maybe start working on fixing the way that ballast shadows load in front of the train, and also ballast level of detail. That one's a little nitpicky, but I'm putting all my feedback out into the universe on this video. The upgraded photo mode was solid too, and free roam is honestly one of my favorite additions to the franchise. It's honestly great. I love building out little sandbox sessions and running my own services, whether they're by themselves or a part of the timetable. But I think we could absolutely take this further. Like, imagine being able to set up stop instructions for your free roam sessions. That way passengers actually board. You earn action points for those stops, and it feels more like a real timetable service, but totally customized by you. That's something that I hope we get in Train Sim World 6 personally, but I honestly doubt. Now, I want to touch a little bit more on dynamic events in timetable mode. I've talked about this before, and I remember all the way back when I first started this YouTube channel and I did a couple of speculation or discussion videos talking about things that I want to see in the game and how we can improve it. This was actually on there, and I do remember a time where Dovetail put out a survey, and in that survey they talked about dynamic events, but I want to touch on that more here. So as it is right now, once you run a service once or twice, that is kind of it. You know the beats, you know the schedule, there's no surprise. But what if that changed? Imagine you're halfway through your run and you get a heads up that an AI train ahead is delayed. Maybe you get rerouted, maybe the platform changes. I feel like stuff like that will add unpredictability and keep the timetable from going stale. Or maybe a service ahead of you gets canceled because of a technical issue, and now you roll into a station earlier than expected. Those kinds of things add so much replay value. They could even throw in signal failures or temporary speed restrictions. Let's say one day you're running normally and next day you're crawling at 25 through a work zone. Maybe there's a broken crossing gate. Maybe some crews are out next to the tracks. It doesn't have to be super complex because, trust me, I get it. The devs have a lot on their plate, and with some of the stuff they do add, it usually ends up being very, very buggy, but I feel like there's a way that they can make this work, and they somehow made free roam work, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I thought it would be virtually unplayable for a while, but it just wasn't like that at first, so I think it's possible. And if you want to think a little farther, what if scenery tiles could shift dynamically too? Like some days you pass by and there are track workers doing maintenance, or some cones and equipment are placed trackside, even if it's not affecting your train, but it could feel like it is. Those kinds of things make the world feel more alive. And I really think that part is doable. We already have NPCs and construction assets, and we have scenarios with these things, but those scenarios don't have replay value because they're the same every single time. With them occurring in timetable mode, it's just about triggering them under the right conditions or specific conditions. Now let's talk about weather, because I think there's a massive opportunity here to go beyond visuals and make it actually affect how services play out. Right now, weather does impact your train through SimuGraph. Stuff like wheel slip, lower braking performance, that's all there. But I'd love to see it go one step further and start impacting AI trains too, and not just the player. We already know the game doesn't simulate full physics on AI trains because it would be too demanding. Only the player's train runs with full SimuGraph behavior, but that doesn't mean AI can't react to weather. For example, when the weather shifts, the game could trigger a few random AI services to reduce their speed based on the severity of the conditions. Light rain could cause a 5 to 10% slowdown. A severe thunderstorm with strong winds might trigger a 50 to 75% reduction. And in some cases, an AI train could just stop entirely for a set of time, maybe 5 minutes or possibly more, to simulate an unplanned hold. And if this happens to be a signal malfunction or a signal delay and it isn't weather related, you wouldn't even need to mess with the actual signaling systems to sell the effect. Just have the train stop in front of a green signal and hold there. To the player, it looks like there's a realistic delay, and that's all that really matters. There really aren't any complex systems needed, just a logic layer that responds to conditions in the world. If weather could impact the timetable in that way, it would completely change how we experience service mode. You would quite literally never know what's coming. And that again adds replay value. With that said though, weather transitions definitely still need work though. And the biggest issue in my opinion from my own experience is the fog. When fog disappears, most of the time it just instantly disappears. 1 second you can't see a thing, and then all your visibility is back. It doesn't really blend or fade like other weather types. I don't really have this issue when it's getting foggy, it's only when it goes away. And this has been broken for years. I don't know if they have any plans to address it or try and fix it, but it's just really frustrating at this point. And the same goes for rain, except if you start a service with dynamic weather and it's clear and it starts to rain, it will usually just stay rain or get heavier and not go back. This is a very common occurrence. Now, I'm not saying all of this is realistic for TSW6. In fact, most of it probably isn't. A lot of these ideas, if we even ever see them, could easily take another 2 to 3 reissues of the game to even happen. But that's the main focus of this video. Ideas on how we can improve Train Sim World. Stuff that I genuinely believe would make the game more immersive and more engaging and replayable. But there's still a ton that needs to be fixed, and even more that deserves actual polish. So I think we should definitely focus on getting bugs fixed and improving what we already have in the game before adding new features. I know a lot of folks want multiplayer. I just don't think something like that is possible at this time, and I don't know if they have any plans on working on it. Same goes for VR. I know we got the VR New York. I played it and I was like, I get that there are constraints and things have to be made a certain way because it's on the Meta Store and it has to run on the Meta Quest and all that stuff, but I was just not a fan. It's so cool because it's VR, but that's the only good thing that I like about it. Like, the tracks didn't even have third rail. Like, that kind of stuff had to be cut. But now I want to hear from you guys. What do you want to see on the May roadmap? And what's one feature you'd love to see added to Train Sim World 6 if you could pick, even if it's a long shot? Drop all of your thoughts and wish list items down in the comment section below. I'll definitely be reading through them. Thank you guys so much for clicking and watching. Take care and happy rail simming, guys.